The following is a presentation of CW Sports.
Football on the CW is presented by Verizon. My plan, the plan for fans. It is the longest continuous rivalry in all of the ACC. NC State goes on the road in Winston-Salem to take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And it is so great to have you with us for ACC football on the CW. Tom Wormy along with James Bates. Trevor Scales will join us in just a moment. It is a special day in our country. We say thanks to all of the veterans who have made the sacrifice to protect freedom in our country, James, and around the world.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time here on Saturday celebrating these student athletes, but the real heroes. Thank you, veterans, and thank you for those who continue to serve.
To the game at hand this afternoon and the big news for NC State. MJ Morris had started the last 4 games for NC State. He has now decided to redshirt and did not make the trip this afternoon.
Welcome to college football 2023 style. Whether you like it or love it, you just got to move ahead, Wolfpack fans. And that's just what the Wolfpack players have done this week. Dave Doran tells us, hey, MJ's on the practice squad, and he's done a good job this week on the practice squad, but it will be back to the old with Brennan Armstrong, and the team has really rallied around him this week. 3-2 as a starter, but he has so many starts under his belt at Virginia before coming to town here. A very confident guy, and that can be his greatest strength, but it can also be his greatest weakness. They have taken care of the football here in recent weeks and beaten some very good teams by doing that, coupled with their stingy defense.
And those yards passing, the most by a left-hander in the history of this conference. To the Wake Forest side, we talked to Dave Clawson yesterday. He identified the issue right away, James. Too many turnovers for the Demon Deacs.
Turnovers and penalties, very uncharacteristic of a Dave Clawson coach team. That's how they've had success here. That's how they did early on in his career here in Winston-Salem. They took care of the football and they didn't have the penalties. You look at that Duke loss, a very close game. 3 huge 15-yard penalties cost them in the 4th quarter. They've got to play clean football.
Wake Forest celebrating its seniors in their last home game of the season and the 117th meeting of NC State and Wake Forest. Back in Winston-Salem on the CW for ACC football, Allegacy Stadium, home of the Demon Deacons in their final home game. And now time to go down to the sidelines. The 3rd member of our broadcast team, Trevor Scales, with the head coach of the Demon Deacons.
Here with Wake Forest head coach Dave Clawson. Coach, what does it mean to honor your seniors who've been through so many wins and, frankly, circumstances, fought through them to get to this point?
Well, the interesting thing about senior day is there's 33 guys, and you're not quite sure who's coming back, who's not. And so we tell all those guys, if there's any chance that this might be your last home game, let's just do it, and we'll deal with the other later.
When it comes to the matchup in between the lines, how do you limit turnovers against a very opportunistic team, frankly?
Yeah, I mean, NC State's a good program. They've been a good program for a while. The last 6 years, this thing has gone back and forth. And there's been some one-score games, but there's been like 3 or 4 one-play games that you can look at 3 or 4 of these games. It's come down to one play, and we got to make sure today we make that play.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Get after it.
Welcome. Thank you.
Trevor, thank you. We'll see if it comes down to one play this afternoon. Dave Doran, 11th season, most wins in school history. Set that mark last week with the win against Miami at home for the 52-year-old from Shawnee Mission, Kansas. And overall in his career, 101 wins for Dave Doran as a collegiate head coach. The weather for this afternoon's game, 58 degrees. It's a crisp Saturday afternoon in the Carolinas. The light breezes as well here at Allegacy Stadium. James, NC State won the toss and has elected to defer for this series that goes all the way back to 1895, and again, they've been playing continuously since 1910. Oldest continuous rivalry in the league.
That's why those dudes busted all those wigs out. Well, wouldn't you want to get that defense out there first if you were Dave Doran and Tony Gibson? His defense has really been phenomenal the last few weeks, especially taking that football away. 18 takeaways by this defense, second most in the ACC. And it's just what Wake Forest has to do today, is hold on to that rock and make it a football game.
Colin Smith will kick it away. NC State 6-3 on the season. Wake is 4-5. ACC football on the CW. And here comes DeMond Claiborne on the return. Up to the 25. And out of bounds near the 30 for Claiborne on the return for Wake Forest. After the 29-yard return, Mitch Griffiths will lead the offense onto the field for the Demon Deacons. Yeah, one of three that you've seen here for Wake Forest this year, but he's been the main guy. Kern's been in there, Marucci as well. And it's got to start with him and taking care of that football. 9 fumbles from number 12 alone. We've got to protect for him. Last game for Wake Forest was November 2nd, a loss at Duke, 24-21 on a last-second field goal. Up past the 35-yard line for Griffiths and a 6-yard run. Jalen Scott on the stop.
Wow. Maybe Charlie horse or something as he takes a hit, comes up limping after that nice gain of 6. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Kern is available. He came in and started in that Virginia Tech game, but then got injured at the end of that game. Marucci has a win under his belt and a start against Pitt.
That win against Pitt was a home victory. Griffiths over the middle. That is knocked away and incomplete. He's looking for Jamal Banks. All right, let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Walmart. Walmart doesn't just have everything for the holidays. We have your thing. Welcome to your Walmart.
A 6-year guy, Michael Juergens, at the guard spot today. He's going to be big with that line protecting his quarterback. And DeMond Claiborne already has made a presence with a nice return. Very good back, very bursty. He's got to hit those gaps right.
Demon Deeks, 10th in the conference on 3rd down, a cluttered pocket, and down goes Mitch Griffiths. That's a loss of 5. Savion Jackson got to the quarterback on 3rd down.
Yeah, nowhere to go. That pocket collapses, all those lanes clogged up. There's Jackson. And sack number 28 for this Wolfpack defense to get things started here on the opening drive in Winston-Salem today.
So the punt for Wake from Ivan Mora, junior from Dalton, Georgia. Just got it away. Take a bounce near the 40 and tumble forward for the Demon Deeks. It's down near the 15. And the ball finally comes to rest at the 16. 54 yards on the punt for Ivan Mora. And now Brennan Armstrong, who started the first 5 games of the season, transfer from Virginia, and the starting quarterback this afternoon for the Wolfpack.
Going back to his days in Charlottesville, his teammates used to call him Braveheart. He willed that team to so many wins. And talking about the confidence there in the open, it's great to have, but don't try to do too much. Play within this system, and this system's coming out with some tricks early.
Concepcion, first down. Concepcion across midfield, trying to break away. And the Deeks will catch him near the 20. KC Concepcion for the Wolfpack.
Wow, how do we get creative in getting the ball to number 10? Jet sweeps, handoffs, passes. Here's a reverse to start the game, and it's off to the races. One of the most electric players in all of college football, and he's a true freshman, KC Concepcion. Wow. Nice, and Robert Anai he's been having a blast the last few weeks. He got so creative in that win over Miami when he had the 2 quarterbacks in there quite a bit. And now just down to Brennan Armstrong. No MJ Morris here today to throw on the field at the same time, but he still has his key weapon, KC Concepcion.
So the first play from scrimmage for NC State on the road this afternoon goes for 68 yards and a career-long rush for the freshman Concepcion from Charlotte, North Carolina, and into the red zone for NC State. That's Coit, shy of the 20. Let's check out today's impact players, brought to you by Walmart. NC State on offense.
Yeah, Anthony Belton, the left tackle, he got himself 6 pancake syrup bottles after the Miami game, putting those defensive linemen on their backs. You get a pancake, a syrup bottle. And Penix, the tight end, banged up a little bit earlier this year. Like to get him incorporated a little bit more into the game plan. He can be big for Brennan Armstrong here today.
9th in the red zone this season in the ACC. Looking down near the 2 and stepping into the end zone. Julian Gray with a twisting grab from Brennan Armstrong. A 20-yard TD toss.
I'll put the lefty on the run a little bit. Look at Dave Doran down there with this group celebrating a little bit. Admittedly, it's been a rough week for him as we talked to him on the Zoom call a couple days ago. Everything that's been going on off the field, even after becoming the winningest coach in NC State history.
6th TD pass of the season for Armstrong. Gray made the catch, his first receiving TD of the year. NC State is in the end zone and leads 7-0. ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Verizon. My Plan, the plan for fans. 33 Wake Forest seniors playing their final game, being honored prior to the start of this game. NC State first in the end zone. Brennan Armstrong, the 20-yard touchdown pass to Julian Gray. And a 7-0 NC State advantage. Big play in that drive from KC Concepcion. Set up the TD. Claiborne on the return. Second effort near the 25-yard line for Claiborne.
Let's take one more look at that touchdown to Julian Gray. And roll into his left. The lefty here, Brennan Armstrong, is going to force this secondary to make a decision and react. You got to hit that window in a hurry, those little zone windows, and he does just that. A beautifully thrown football and a nice play call. It only took a couple good play calls by Robert and I, but NC State punching it in on their opening drive after their defense stood. Kicking off to start the game, the sack by Savion Jackson. So here goes try number 2 for Mitch Griffiths and company.
Penalty markers are out.
Ball start. Offense, number 62, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Today's impact players brought to you by Walmart with NC State on D, James.
Davin Vann, we make a big deal about Peyton Wilson, justifiably so, in the motor that he has. But the big man, he's got a motor too, puts it all on the line. And Aiden White, the special cornerback, has already broken up a pass here early in this football game.
White had an interception in the end zone in the victory against Miami a week ago. Open man, 30-yard line. Griffiths pass on target. Keyshawn Williams makes the grab for 11 yards.
Taking good protection that time for Griffiths. Stands in there strong in that pocket and fires a nice one in there.
56-year-old Dave Clausen on that sideline. Wake Forest needs a couple of wins in their final 3 games to make it to their 8th straight bowl game. Justice Ellison. No gain for Ellison. Peyton Wilson in on the tackle along with Jalen Scott.
It's number 11. Last time we had this Wolfpack team, he left the field against Clemson. Buckus Award semifinalist. Can I get the telestrator? Just cross off that semifinalist. Let's put winner on there. He's got my vote. Man, he's been fun to watch. I'm glad we've had a lot of NC State games this year because he is really fun to watch. Plays his guts out every single time out there, and he's got the knee brace on, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's affected him that much.
Griffiths, 4 receivers to choose from, and he got swallowed up. Devon Betty up in his grill with a loss of 6 on a sack.
They're all coming right here. Tony Gibson loves to bring that pressure. And in a hiccup, Betty's back there. The junior from St. Thomas Aquinas down in the 9-5-4 Fort Lauderdale. And again, a sack to end the drive for Dave Clausen's Deacons on offense.
Jalen Coit is second in the ACC in punt return yardage. Punt from Mora. Coit will watch it bounce at the 40. Kind of goes sideways and gets touched by the Deeks. Decent field position. Coming up for NC State. 7-0 Wolfpack on the CW. It's one of the most storied conferences in all of college basketball with some of the country's best teams. This December, ACC basketball comes to the CW with 14 weeks of doubleheader action. CW courtside Saturday tips off December 2nd only on the CW. There are the matchups to get the season going at Miami and Notre Dame. Duke on the road at Georgia Tech. Duke, the defending champs in the ACC. Tough loss at home against Arizona yesterday, but it's early in the basketball season, and we'll see you on December 2nd. Work to do here in Winston-Salem. Raphael left side. He'll drag some Demon Deeks with him for 6 yards on the rush.
It may be early in the basketball season, but we found out after the Clemson win that NC State is not a basketball school.
Oh, that's a whole nother story. Let's take a look at our ref cam presented by DirecTV. Stop compromising. Start watching. Upgrade to DirecTV. The ref cam. What a view that is.
See why they wanted to jump on that. That's been our favorite shot here. I was waiting for somebody to put their name on that ref cam. Batesy Paint tried to, but I couldn't afford it.
Second possession of the game for Brennan Armstrong. Has to get it out on the edge. Lassane, first down yardage. And he's into Wake Forest real estate with a 9-yard play. Nick Anderson on the stop for Wake.
Now, a pancake is one thing, but I'm not sure what you want to call this Anthony Belton. I mean, it's a squish. He just goes out there and lays down on that defensive back. A good job by the big man to get out there and lead the way. And then an excellent play behind him. But Belton getting up and moving, 6'6", 336-pounder out of Tallahassee. And a first down, Wolfpack.
TD pass already in this game for Brennan Armstrong. That's Concepcion. Got a couple there. Today's Impact Players brought to you by Walmart. It's Wake Forest on defense.
Yeah, Jasheen Davis, their 30 on the line, has been so good there at the defensive end spot. Almost a tackle and a half for loss a game. 2 fumble recoveries. Jacob Roberts has been big time from his linebacker spot as well. Leads the team with 62 tackles.
Armstrong pressured, got away for the moment, then he's dragged down right at about the 46 and a loss of 4. Jaheen Davis in pursuit of Brennan Armstrong.
Right on cue, huh? There you have circled, it's Jacob Roberts. There's the quick shift. It looked a little bit awkward, and they just leave Jacob Roberts. He gets a free shot, but finally Davis to drag him down. That's pretty good right there on our Walmart players to watch. We got both of them involved in that big play, and Brennan Armstrong almost able to get it for no loss, but it's 3rd down and 11 here.
20th career sack for Jasheen Davis for Wake Forest, and a flag is out on 3rd down.
Start. Number 74, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Gary Patterson is our referee.
This became a little bit of an issue. You hear the beeping out there? It's like the big truck backing up. I think that's Belton backing up a little bit. But you remember early on in the season, going into that Marshall game, this was a bit of an issue. These little 5-yard penalties, they may feel a little watching on TV, but that momentum that you create and that it takes away, they had done a good job of cleaning it up, so they can't start that again.
Armstrong out of that pocket, throws on the run, and it's incomplete along the sideline. Porter Rooks, number 4, the intended receiver. That brings up 4th down for NC State.
Nice job, Alec Mustafa has become the voice of this defense, and that was a much needed stop. It was excellent field position to start once again for NC State. Forced to punt it away right here. Now the offense has just got to get something going, a little something. Can't give up all those sacks. See if they can hit him with a big play of some kind.
Caden Noonkester on the punt. Taylor Morin. That'll bounce into the end zone. 51 yards on the punt and the touchback. So when we come back, Wake Forest will have the football. NC State has the lead on a Brennan Armstrong TD pass. ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. Celebrating Veterans Day here in Winston-Salem. Mark Irwin, a former Wake Forest soccer player and a Hall of Famer here at Wake Forest, who spent time in the United States Army Infantry, led the team out onto the field prior to the start of the game this afternoon. We certainly salute all of the veterans and the sacrifices that they have made. A flag is out.
Number 52, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Spencer Clapp is number 52.
Yeah, Clausen's upset with it, and Spencer's over there looking at number 11 lined up, trying to get a jump. He tried to get a little bit of a jump coming off the edge. Got a little twitchy and jumped, and so just like that, you're looking at a 1st down and 15, adding on 5 before you even snap the football on this drive.
Griffiths pressured again and dragged down at the 5. Another sack. Jackson, he's got another one, James.
Yeah, and it's just, you got to put a little bit more friction on a guy than this right here. He just blows right by Luke Pettibon. Lowers the boom on Mitch Griffiths. They've just been living here in the 1st quarter with 5:30 left to go. The 3rd sack already, 1 on each series. And now with that penalty, it's 2nd and 23.
It's a loss of 8, the 2nd sack of the game for Savion Jackson. Try to move that pile beyond the 10-yard line on the ground for Wake Forest, and they got 5. Griffiths tackled by Caden Fordham.
You know, you finally get a stop from your defense. You get out there and they get you the ball back. And just unable to do anything with it. And here's a situation where you can't afford a turnover and giving them the short field. So they got to be a little bit safe here.
Williams. Hard hit up near the 20.
By
Peyton Wilson, 10 yards on the play. That's back to the original line of scrimmage and not nearly enough.
It would have been a nice investment to get a parrot that just says Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson. Just repeat over and over and over. And just turns and burns. He can fly, and when he gets there, he lowers the boom. Just big time hit. Here we go.
Punt from Mora. That's Coit wanting the fair catch and making it. 46 yards on the punt and almost 4.5 seconds of hang time on the punt by Mora. Tuesday on Inside the NFL, the guys take a look back at the pivotal AFC North matchup between the Browns and Ravens. Plus, can the Jaguars continue their stellar play against the 49ers? Inside the NFL, free for everyone, Tuesday, 8/7 Central, only on the CW.
Duval, Jacksonville. Well,
That's three and outs to start the game for Wake Forest after that punt by Mora. And now Armstrong back to work, hands it off. Michael Allen. Allen got hit by Mustafa, who came up to make the play just a yard. Jacob Roberts in the vicinity as well for Wake Forest.
Good job by Malik right there, refusing to be blocked. Comes off of that block. Just, if nothing else, he's turning that runner back in. But not only does he turn him, he drops him. Transfer from Richmond.
Brandon Armstrong is the transfer from Virginia, where he threw 58 career TD passes for the Cavaliers. Left-hander slings this one to the 40. It's probably about a yard short of the line to gain. 8 yards on the play.
I think that's the first catch here for Anthony Smith, a guy who's had a few opportunities. He's run past a few defenders here in recent weeks. He was a guy that coming in, they thought maybe he'd be on that first unit. That didn't have the best 2-a-day camp, went down to the scout team and just worked. And they finally decided, hey, we got to move him up. He's making too many plays, but he can really run.
First catch of the season for Smith. Now this is 3rd and short. Armstrong breaking tackles and diving for the Wake Forest 40-yard line. They'll mark him at the 41. Slocum made the tackle. 15 yards, Armstrong.
And just look at him, the patience and the vision. You can tell he's been there before, and you can also tell he plays this game with a lot of heart and a lot of grit, and his teammates really appreciate him for that. He's a captain and continued to be a captain. When M.J. Morris became the starter, he was a good team player, good in that locker room. And here he's getting another chance to lead this team down the home stretch.
Coach Doran told them no pressure, cut it loose, hands it off. Raphael, minimal gain as we go down to Trevor Scales on the sidelines.
Yeah, fellas, Brennan Armstrong, his contributions in the run game is what he's always provided, at least as of late for this NC State offense. He's a very tried and true runner. He's obviously a big body, and he just adds to the element as far as what that Wake Forest defense has to account for on every single snap that he's in the ball game now.
Absolutely, and he's been with that gentleman right there for quite some time. And last year, I was up in Syracuse, New York with the Orange, but reunited in Raleigh to begin this season. And he certainly knows, Trevor, what he can do with those legs. Used him quite a bit in Charlottesville.
Armstrong, the leading rusher this season for NC State. That play on the ground goes nowhere. Delbert Mims, loss of 1. Justin Williams, number 44, leading the way for the Wake Forest Demon Deacon defensive unit. Kevin Pointer as well, number 91.
Pointer's had some good games here recently, playing really hard right now. 91 on that defensive front. As Williams goes back over there to take a breather on a 3rd down.
NC State 1 of 2 so far on 3rd down. 8th in the conference in this situation. That pocket falls in. Armstrong with some room to run. 30-yard line and more. And down close to the 20 for Brennan Armstrong. Hazen had the tackle after a 20-yard gain.
Tom, they had him bottled up. Look at the smile on his face, having a good time. And watch him here. I mean, they come flying in there, and he just got to protect that football. A few turnovers there early on in this season. He finally gets it tucked away, and it's off to the races. Got a nice block over there by Julian Gray. Just the patience to pick it apart and not panic in those situations. Shows the experience and the confidence of number 5. First down, Wolfpack.
Armstrong was the leading rusher against Miami in the victory with 51 yards. That play near the 20 for Kendrick Raphael, and that will be the final play of the quarter. NC State after the first 15 minutes, James, with a 7-0 lead on the road at Wake Forest. The 117th meeting between the teams, and the TD through the air for NC State to take the lead. Let's take a look at today's first quarter stats, brought to you by Golden Corral, the only one for everyone.
Yeah, the Pack defense, 29% holding opponents on third down. They're doing pretty good in that first quarter. 0 for 3, Wake Forest on third down conversions. And there you see the 106 rushing yards for NC State to the -9, thanks in large part to the freshman, KC Concepcion, and his 68-yard run on the first play from scrimmage.
Additionally, the 3 sacks by NC State on defense as well. Armstrong takes off. Down to the 10 for Brennan Armstrong, and another bruising run for number 5. 12 yards on the run. Kalen Carson making the stop right at the 10-yard line for NC State, back into the red zone.
And you know, you say bruising run. I mean, how many times do you talk about a quarterback and say, oh, another bruising run? But that's what you get with Brennan Armstrong. I mean, he's not sliding very much. He's taking those hits to some of those defenders. Tough guy out of Shelby, Ohio.
He's seen action in 8 games this season because he comes in as a rusher as well. And that's down to about the 5 for Delbert Mims. He's a short yardage specialist. He got 4 on the rush. We told you about NC State in the red zone, James, 9th in the conference. When they get inside the 10, watch out.
Yeah.
14 of 14, 12 touchdowns, couple of field goals, and 5 rushing touchdowns from Mims in that situation.
And he didn't have any touchdowns coming into this year, the junior Mims. He's got 6. Tied for the lead on the team with Concepcion.
Concepcion has the football in the direct snap, trying to stretch it out. Turn that corner. Put the shoulder down, barreled his way to maybe the 3-yard line. A couple of yards for Concepcion. They'll mark him at the 2.
Direct snap. Here's Robert and I getting creative again. How do we get it to number 10? Lined him up behind the quarterback and snap it right to him. And I mean, and see, that's the thing. It's one thing for Brennan Armstrong at 212 pounds to lower that shoulder at the end of those runs. But KC Concepcion, he lowered his shoulder there at the end of that one and brought a hit to the defender. Right into our cameraman, Larry, over there. Hope you're all right, Larry.
From short yardage on third down, trying to get to the end zone. Delbert Mims, maybe a yard. They're going to mark him short of the goal line. Usually it's an automatic for Mims from this range, James, but Wake able to stop him short, although Armstrong thought he was in. And now it's 4th down for Coach Anai. How about the 12th play of the drive coming up right here, James, on 4th down?
Yeah. NC State had a big goal line stand against Miami last week. Let's see if Wake can pull one out right here.
4th and goal. Armstrong has it. Trying to follow a block to the end zone, and he's in. Brennan Armstrong barrels into the end zone for the touchdown for the Pack.
There is a flag down.
Flag is thrown.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
There's a flag in the end zone.
Play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1, defense. That's his first unsportsmanlike. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
That's Kalen Carson with the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and these are a couple penalties, frustration penalties. Cost a football team, and some big 15-yarders were very costly into that Duke game. A 24-21 loss for Wake Forest.
So that's now 4 rushing touchdowns on the season for Armstrong. Braden Narveson makes it 14-0.
Leading passer and leading rusher is back, and he's bringing the wood and into the paint. And Nye stoked, 14-0.
ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Verizon. My plan, the plan for fans. 14-0. NC State has the lead here in the second quarter. Brennan Armstrong just took it in. Casey Concepcion.
He's watching himself on the big board there. Isn't that great?
Love
what a great shot.
Yeah, 65 yards on the run to set up that first touchdown pass from Armstrong to Gray at 20 yards.
Careful here now with that 15-yard penalty. A little sky kick or just boot it away. Booting it. You know, we're all the physicality down here. Things change on Wednesdays. The CW stands for Cozy Wednesdays. And this Wednesday is an all-new cozy episode of the CW's hit show, Sullivan's Crossing, based on the New York Times best-selling series and starring Morgan Cohan, Chad Michael Murray, and Scott Patterson. The CW's Cozy Wednesday with Sullivan's Crossing starts this Wednesday at 8/7 Central. Catch up on all the episodes so far on the CW app. Some slippers and some tea. Gosh.
And we also have a change of quarterback. Michael Kern is into the game, James, from Wake, number 15. The handoff goes nowhere. The ball carrier gets spun down. Damon Claiborne, sophomore, loses 2.
So here's Kern. Told you about his action earlier this season against Virginia Tech. He was injured at the end of that game. A shoulder injury. He just recently cleared to play. And Santino Marucci had to play in that pit game and actually got the win. Man. Tom, these guys are just getting up and flying around on defense so hard, just suffocating. That time it's Jalen Scott. Just took his blocker right into the ball carrier. So here's a 3rd down and long. Not a great situation for any of Dave Clawson's quarterbacks to be in.
So far, just 9 total yards for Wake Forest. And they haven't converted a 3rd down. They were 5 of 13 on 3rd down in the loss at Duke on November 2nd, their most recent game. Kern got rid of it. Lauren couldn't hang on to it. Tried to go up and get it near the 35-yard line.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it. You see the ISO on the receiver right here in this shot. The ball's going to come to him late as he comes back to help out his quarterback, but he's got to catch it right through his hands. And what you didn't see was Kern. Pressure came late, and he took a big shot. Not quite 100%, coach is telling us, so any shot to that shoulder isn't going to feel very good for Michael Kern. Defense stands again.
Coit watches it bounce out of bounds. 32 yards on the punt. We'll take a timeout. 10:48 to go in our second quarter. NC State and Wake Forest on the CW. ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. That's Wake Forest All-American from 1980, offensive lineman Bill Ard. He is part of the ACC football honors class this season. Won a Super Bowl with the Giants and in the Wake Forest Hall of Fame. Inducted in 1993. His Demon Deacs trailing NC State 14-0 early second quarter. Passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown for Brennan Armstrong. This out near midfield. On the play for NC State, that's 1st down yardage. Raphael down to Trevor.
Fellas, y'all mentioned the quarterback change. Michael Kern stepping in for Mitch Griffiths. Notice on the sideline there was a noticeable limp as he was welcoming the team back to the sideline. You'll see the injury earlier on here. Came down hard on that right knee. We do not have any official word as to what specifically the injury is and whether or not the quarterback change was solely due to that. We will certainly keep you updated as we find out more, though, Tom.
Great work, Trevor. Jalen Scott had that hit on Griffiths, forced him out of the game after that 3rd series. That's only a yard. Kendrick Raphael, the freshman from Naples, Florida.
Raphael, a big part of that Miami win last weekend at Raleigh for NC State. Big touchdown run late after the goal line stand. It was an offense, both offenses, with 2 pretty good defenses out there having a tough time moving it up and down the field all night long, but not when it mattered the most. for NC State went 97 yards after that goal line stand.
Gonna run it again. A little bit of room down to the 40 and diving forward. 7 yards on the play. Raphael again. Nick Anderson on the stop. Raphael's TD run, James, that you mentioned. 31 yards late in the fourth quarter put NC State up 17-6, and they won it 20-6. Did not allow a touchdown in that game. First time since November of 2011 in an ACC game. 3rd and short now. After the win a week ago against Miami for NC State. Armstrong wants to do it. He will. Armstrong, the 20-yard line, towards the goal line, diving for it, and just short. They'll mark him inside the 1 as Garnes pulled him down and saved a touchdown. 38 yards for Brennan Armstrong.
Well, folks back in Shelby, Ohio that are fans of Brennan Armstrong, they've got to feel good watching him. Every time he gets up off the turf, he's got a great big smile under that bright red mustache. He's having a good time in what he thought might not be another start here this year for NC State. And what a great job by Kendrick Raphael that time on the lead block. That extra blocker in the backfield leading the charge, and Armstrong doing the rest.
The handoff at the goal line, second effort, and in for the touchdown, Mims. The signal made by the official right on top of it. Mims appeared to be stopped, and he would not quit on the play. And Mims slams it in from a yard out.
They did have him stopped right here. Look at him. 1, 2, 3 guys. He just keeps those legs driving in that second lunge. Good call. Tip crosses the plane just to make sure he stretches it over after. A touchdown scoring machine. You mentioned it. Anytime they get down inside that 10-yard line, it's just about a layup.
That's now 7 rushing touchdowns on the season for Mims, and 6 of those inside the 10-yard line in short yardage. And NC State now 16 for 16 inside the 10 this season, with 14 touchdowns and a couple of field goals. Now again, it was a second effort from Mims, and they may be taking a look at this, James.
It did look like the tip of the football crossed the plane on that second effort. Here we'll get another look at it along with the replay officials. It's impressive though when you've got 3 bodies hanging on to you. Right there, that ball is across the plane. It's a good look. You can even see the laces. A lot of times the ball being dark in the shadows, it's hard to tell. But the laces taking care of you, knowing exactly where it is. They're wrapped up, and I didn't see the body part.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Not enough evidence to overturn the call, which on the field was touchdown, as Mims stretched out for the goal line and end zone. And look at this, James. 20-0. 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Dave Doran's team pouring it on in the first half. 3 for 3 in the red zone.
You know, the off-the-field talk that surrounded this program throughout the week with Morris redshirting, coming off of 2 pretty big wins, Clemson, and then backing it up with the Miami win. You know, it's a situation this late in the season. Maybe you kind of like coast into this one, but there's no coasting into this one. It almost helps to rally the troops like you're coming off of a loss. Fortunately for Dave Doran and the Wolfpack, they're not losing ways right now. Brennan Armstrong gets him down to the door, and then Mims kicks it down. 21-0 Pack.
Coming up on the Subaru halftime report, we'll hear about the many elements that have led to success for Dave Doran at NC State. We'll also get to highlights from around the ACC, as well as highlights from our game here at Allegacy Stadium. All of that and so much more coming up on the Subaru halftime report at the break.
Thank you, Trevor. Yeah, we look forward to Trevor taking us through halftime. Dave Doran with that win last week against Miami. Most wins in school history, and now for the 9th time as the head coach of the Pack, they are bowl eligible under Dave Doran and leading 21-0. Just over 8 minutes to go in our second quarter.
Griffiths is up, but there's Kern. Looks like Kern probably going back in, so it will be Michael Kern once again. Little teaser for that halftime segment on the winningest coach in NC State history. Doran told us on the Zoom call. When you asked him at the end, Tom, just, you know, how all the success there as a head coach, he said, well, just when it comes to winning games, it starts with not losing them. Not losing them, and taking care of that football, cutting down on the penalties. One thing that they've done a good job of here lately.
Kern up there midfield along the sideline and incomplete, looking for Banks. NC State, by the way, 3 of those wins for Dave Doran coming on the CW prior to this afternoon.
They go at Aiden White. Aiden White's a heck of a cornerback. And you got to do it, though. You have got to challenge these guys. You got to make them think that you're going to run by them and run deep and put a fear into them. Clemson couldn't get past him. Secondary's been so good for Tony Gibson.
Over the middle and complete 30-yard line. Cameron Height, 5 yards on the play.
Tennessee boy out there, Cameron Height. Good to have him back. Missed a couple games earlier this season with a concussion. Out of Greenville, Tennessee.
Ellison is the running back. 3rd down. 0 for 4 on 3rd down in the first half, Wake Forest.
Man, do they need 0 first downs to find a way. Get one right here. Here they come.
Just 25 total yards, trying to add to it. That pass over the shoulder attempt, and the ball bounces away. Morin almost made a circus grab against Kennedy.
Yeah, it would have been an amazing grab at that. Great adjustment to go back and get it.
I mean, he had it, James, and Kennedy was able to knock it away at the last second.
Yeah, it's got to survive the ground down there, and man, looking that in there, that's one that the Wake Forest certainly needed. Good job by Kennedy, not giving up.
The punt sails out of bounds. Morin, by the way, has 153 career catches and almost made a spectacular grab for Wake Forest, and boy, do they need it. Trailing NC State on the CW.
Want to keep track of today's upsets? Just tell Siri, show me college football scores.
Back in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So glad that you're with us on the CW. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Trevor Scales on the sideline. Our outstanding college football production crew with you from Allegacy Stadium. It's been all NC State. Brennan Armstrong in at quarterback. MJ Morris declaring his red shirt after starting the last 4 games, 3-1 as a starter. Returning to Brennan Armstrong, who started the season in that position for NC State. This is Raphael for a short game. Pretty good day for Armstrong so far, James. He's the leading rusher in the game. 6 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown run. Also has thrown a touchdown to Julian Gray. First receiving TD of his career for Gray. Mims had the other short yardage TD run in this second quarter.
New life for number 5 and complimentary football. Here Dave Doran talking about quite a bit. Even the special teams playing well. They're becoming close to blocking a few punts in this one too.
Raphael up to the 48. He got 5 yards. Trevor?
Got word from the NC State sideline that they did take a hit to their run game. Michael Allen, the senior running back, number 2, is out for the rest of the game with what they're calling an upper body injury. Keep you posted on anything if that changes. However, that seems to be the final verdict for his day.
All right, good to know, Trevor. They've moved Poole over from that linebacker spot. Actually moved him over in the Clemson game, played a little bit there, but scored a touchdown. Got a touchdown pass against Miami. So they've got Poole over there. Mims and Raphael too.
That pass batted down and incomplete. Kevin Pointer got a piece of it. That'll bring up 4th down for NC State.
You see it from ref camp. Right on it. Ball was hit. was fighting over it while that ball's in the air. There can't be an interference anymore.
Danny Worrell, our umpire, kind enough to wear ref cam this afternoon, making the call on the deflection. Noonkester scoops up that low punt. Warren watches it bounce inside the 10, hustling after it into the end zone. Once that ball breaks the plane in college football, it is a touchback. 52 yards on the punt.
Wake 0 for 5 on down. Savion Jackson, a big reason for that. Guys coming from all angles. Tony Gibson drawing it up, and these guys going out there and executing it. Betty in for a sack as well. Jackson has 3 sacks today. And Wake 0 first downs with 5:39 left in the first half. Still looking to move those chains for the first time on offense, and with a new quarterback and Michael Kern out of Lake Nona in Orlando, Florida.
30 total sacks on the season now for NC State. That is 3rd in the ACC. They've got 3 today, as James mentioned. Long pass to the sideline, and Morin has it. Taylor Morin, 16 yards on the grab, and his first catch and first down of the game for Wake.
That'll work. Morin's been targeted 3 times, had the one go through his hands, and one was almost an amazing catch. Knocked away by Kennedy. This time it'll stick, and the first down of this football game for the Deeks.
Morin playing in his 47th game at Wake Forest. That also got tipped at the line on the attempt by Kern. Looked like it was Morin cutting over the middle. C.J. Clark is number 5. Aiden White, part of that secondary for NC State. But what they've done in the secondary, James, 13 interceptions to lead the ACC this season for the Wolfpack.
Well, Wormy, that's without 2 of their top 4 safeties. Rakeem Ashford and Jakeem Harris, both out for the season.
Pressure on Kern. Morin trying to come back to the football, turn and make the grab, and it bounces off of Morin near midfield.
Whether you're going at Battle or White, got some pretty good corners there, good coverage, and they almost slipped one in there, a little bit of a back shoulder. Dave Doran's pleading his case, wanting a flag on that one, but won't get it. So here's your 3rd down and 10 now.
And Clausen's team, James, 0 for 5 on 3rd down. Just got a first down on the catch by Morin. Can they convert here from their own 36? Pressure is coming. They picked up the blitz. One-on-one play. Incomplete to the artificial surface. That football bouncing around. Jamal Banks covered by Shaheem Battle, number 7.
Excellent coverage by Battle right there in the hip pocket. But the ball thrown a little bit short and behind the only place it could be, and adjusting and almost pulling it in, Jamal Banks. You know, some of these are tough catches, but they've just, NC State's playing some good football right now and some great defense. They've just got to find a way to make some of these plays, even if they are a little bit more difficult than the norm.
6th punt of the game for Wake Forest.
Oh, that'll help.
Hoyt, fair catch made beyond the 20.
Flag down.
Penalty marker. Well, the punt was 42 yards, and let's get the official word from Gary Patterson.
Running into the kicker, defense, 5-yard penalty is declined. First down, North Carolina State at the end of the kick.
Well, next Saturday, it's doubleheader action on the CW. First Duke takes on Virginia, then Jordan Travis and the number 4 Florida State Seminoles continue their national title chase as they face North Alabama. All starts at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific only on the CW.
So Clausen declining that running into the kicker, not a roughing penalty, so it wouldn't have been an automatic first down. Likes where NC State will start here with 4:51 left in the first half.
From the 23 for NC State. Armstrong, he hung on to it. Rolls down to the 30-yard line. 7 yards for the rush for Brennan Armstrong. The college football playoff rankings. Florida State hanging tough at number 4. James 9-0 in the season and taking on Miami today.
Yeah, they got those Canes at 3:30. Then we've got them next week with North Alabama before they get those Florida Gators at the end of the season after Thanksgiving. This one looks like, Tom, it was going to be a first down. No whistles.
So it was Raphael on the carry, scooped up by Garnes. He saunters into the end zone. I thought I heard a whistle, James, at some point prior to the entry to the end zone, and now Dave Clawson wants an immediate explanation. The ball carrier was Raphael for NC State, the freshman from Naples, Florida.
The ruling on the field is a fumble by North Carolina State, recovered by Wake Forest. The Wake Forest player had his knee on the ground when he possessed it. First down, Wake Forest, with the spot of recovery.
Jalen Garnes picked it up. Saw that ball come out at the tail end of the play.
All right, we'll take a look at it here. See there.
Let's listen.
I don't know. I don't know that ball. I'm not so sure this ball was coming out when he was on his way down. Now remember, ruling on the field is a fumble. That shot right there.
Yeah, they're taking a look at it in conjunction with the command center in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's Aiden Hall who knocks it out at the end of the play.
Yeah, but the question is his left shoulder. Is his left shoulder down before it finally comes out? You know, I don't have a problem with no whistle here, because if he gets up and starts running from that point, see, and there he's blocked by Mustafa. But if he gets up and starts running, you know, no whistle. He can go. He hasn't touched the ground at that point, but that left shoulder is the tough one. And if those are the only two angles that we have, I think it will stand.
Well, if it does, it would be just the 3rd lost fumble of the season for NC State. Fewest lost fumbles in the ACC to start the day. We had a football, a shoe, a shoulder, and then Garnes come out of it. Watch Garnes. He took the ball from between the official's legs there, scooped it up, and tried to go to the end zone.
This is there. Look right here. He's down. That's the best look at it right there.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Wake Forest.
Wow.
It is a fumble.
Wow, they'll take it. Just what they needed, really, Tom.
Exactly, trailing 21-0 and late in our first half for Wake Forest. At home this season, where they are 3-2 and 1-2 in conference play on their home field. So that's Raphael, who lost it at the tail end of the play. He thought he was down. The officials do not agree. Not enough evidence to overturn the call, which on the field was fumble and recovery by Wake Forest. Michael Kern in at quarterback.
Sudden change, maybe go big. On the ground.
Claiborne spinning at the 30. Gets inside the 30-yard line. It's a 7-yard gain.
Damon Claiborne's got a lot of promise. He's the 2nd or 3rd highest recruit ever to come here, Dave Clawson tells us. Beat a lot of schools to get him. A sophomore out of Aylett, Virginia. He's got a big-time burst. If he can get free.
Looking for some daylight. Close to the marker, which is at the 26. Fordham, first man there on the tackle of Claiborne, who was very close to a first down.
Fordham, linebacker in there in the middle, wrapping him up, and a little help from his boys in there.
Claiborne, James, against Vanderbilt here at home this season in a winning effort. 165 yards rushing for Claiborne, a career high on 26 carries, and they're going to bring out the sticks.
When we were here at Georgia Tech, it was Justice Ellison, his 937 rush yards.
Just a little bit short. That's the international symbol for just a little bit short.
What's that, the international symbol
They
for?
need a superhero is right here in Winston-Salem. Cut into this lead that NC State has built. 2 rushing TDs and a passing TD in the first half for the Wolfpack going on the road. NC State in his last 11 games here, James, just 2-9 against Wake Forest, which has not converted a third down. 0 for 6. This is 3rd and short. Trying to go low in short yardage for Claiborne. They only needed a few inches here.
There were a lot of bodies with red hats.
Anxious moments.
It's close. It's close. I'm not so sure he got it. NC State players are saying he didn't. They'll bring the chains back in.
Chain gang getting a workout.
Sean Brown getting up there and filling in a hurry. Go from
about the same thing.
What are those guys saying? The NC State fans there. They got the same sign over there. And Batman. There we go. There we go. 4th down. Yeah. Oh gosh, he's got his headset on. He's coaching him up. I wonder if he's talking to Dorn or Trevor at least. He's probably communicating with Trevor.
So Wake Forest has only gone for it on 4th down 11 times this season. They've made 3 of them. They're at 4th and short right now.
They were stuffed in a few short yardage situations in that Duke game. There's Tony Gibson. Where do they need it right now? Be careful. Hard play pass and see if they can get a cheap one.
Wake is going to burn a timeout with 2:44 to go in this second quarter. I told you next week part of our doubleheader will be in Tallahassee for North Alabama out of the football championship subdivision against Florida State, hanging tough at number 4 in those college football playoff rankings and undefeated. One of 7 teams in the football bowl subdivision undefeated.
Yeah, 6 minutes they're about to kick against the Canes. I still think it's going to be an interesting one against Miami here today. Michigan playing one. They started at noon as well. Should be about wrapping that one up over Penn State. Not a very high-scoring affair.
Now, we already know, James, that Florida State will be in that title game December 2nd in Charlotte, North Carolina. Louisville will be there if Duke beats North Carolina tonight for the victory bell. North Carolina has won the last 4 meetings between those 2 teams. And then Louisville can take care of business against Miami the following week should they need that victory.
Let's see if they can take care of 4th down right here for Wake. Should be.
Kern kept it. It looks like he's got enough, and he's got a 1st down. Needed just about 10 inches or so, and he was able to lunge forward.
They took all they had and a little extra help push from behind. So 2:17. And it was NC State that won the toss, chose to go on defense to start the first half. So it will be NC State ball to start the second half. Boy, does Wake Forest need some points here in these last 2 minutes.
It's still, though, James, just 40 total yards.
North Carolina State, that's their first charge timeout of the half. North Carolina State is challenging whether the line of game was made.
So the challenge has been issued. All right, let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years.
Yeah, first touchdown of the game after a nice sack and stop by the defense. And a nice run by Concepcion. It was Gray on the receiving end. Jackson with his second sack. And 3 sacks for the defense. And there's Brennan Armstrong punching it in. From right there near the goal line. Mims added 1 as well. 21-0 is where we sit right now. They're taking a look at the spot of that football. Dorn using the timeout. Here's one more look at it.
It was Kern on the keep, the quarterback for Wake Forest. And ref cam takes us right into the pile.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Wake Forest. North Carolina State is charged with timeout and has no further challenges the rest of the game.
See Peyton Wilson trying to pull him back behind.
So the timeout charged to NC State. No further challenge is available. 2:05 to go in our second quarter. Final 2 minutes of this quarter will stop to reset on a first down. Demon Deeks again, James, just 40 total yards. Trying to get on the board here late in the half. Michael Kern, the handoff, Claiborne. Loss of 2.
It's such a fast-filling defense. Those used to watching Wake Forest on offense, you get that slow mesh, so much of it. Sometimes this defense, they fill those gaps so fast. There's no slow mesh. You have no choice but to get rid of that football and get things going. And the penetration, no matter what style of offense you're running, that penetration is going to slow down any offense. They go backwards on that one.
Batesy, how freeing is that as a linebacker to be able to play that way?
Well, Trevor, it's fun. And what's really fun, when I watch this tape, I watch Fordham, I watch Peyton Wilson, is those big guys up front, Trevor. They do such a good job of eating up those big bodies and keeping them off of them, letting them run sideline to sideline. And then when you've got an aggressive defensive coordinator, it just makes it all kinds of fun.
Burn down near the goal line. Ball hits the turf, and that's incomplete. Banks, the receiver for Wake, Aiden White, defensively.
A little bit more time here for Kern. Some activity at his feet, but standing in there strong. And Aiden White just keeps on doing what Aiden White does. Both Aiden White and Shaheem battle. All ACC last year, Aiden White was. Outstanding cornerback play, and that certainly helps a defensive coordinator. You don't have to worry. You can take receivers, take that whole side of the field out, not worry about it, because you got a guy that can man up with anyone. It frees you up to do so many things. A lot of fun chess pieces, if you will, for Tony Gibson on this defense. That's not chess-like behavior, though, is it?
Irate.
Chess etiquette. West Virginia guy right there. A lot of great coaches in the game of football, college football especially, have come out of the state of West Virginia. Nick Saban, of course. Jim Grove is a name that comes to mind. He's a West Virginia guy. Won a lot of games here at Wake Forest. Jimbo Fisher from West Virginia, the Bowdens from West Virginia.
Jim Grove was the head coach back in 06, James, when Wake Forest won the ACC title game against Virginia Tech in Jacksonville, 9-6. Looking to get on the board with a 39-yard field goal. Matthew Dennis is 14 of 18 on the season. Did miss his 2 tries against Duke in the most recent game for Wake. It's a line drive that is no good. No good for Dennis. Missing from 39 yards away. So just 52 seconds to go now in the quarter. Some long faces in the stands here at Allegacy Stadium. I will say, James, there's a lot of red in the stadium as well. These Wolfpack fans have come to support their team also.
Yeah, a lot of Wolfpack fans curious to see how their team's going to perform, and I think they certainly answered that in the first half, the way they came out on fire both offensively and defensively. And speaking of fire, a lot of want-to there for 34. Mims moving those chains.
14 yards for Mims on the rush. If Wake does not score in the first half, James, it'd be the first time this season that they have not put points on the board in the first half. Up over 240 yards of total offense for NC State in this first half. That's on target. Armstrong hits his man for a first down at the 45-yard line. Dakari Collins hauled that one in, 10 yards.
What you're looking at right here is, you know, the first play, they hand it off to Mims. If he gains 1 or 2 yards, maybe they kind of ease on into the locker room. But after that first down run, let's heat it up. And Dave Doran quickly with the timeout.
Brennan Armstrong on the ground, 7 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown so far, James.
Yeah, so comfortable, so confident back there. And he just got that new life in him after he thought maybe perhaps he had started his last college football game. Things just weren't clicking quite right. And after starting the first 5 games, MJ Morris took over. He was still playing, still a big part of this team. Big part of that win against Miami. And a leader on this team. And Morris decided to redshirt after 4 games earlier this week. He's your guy again, and he seems to be enjoying it, that's for sure.
Escapes the pocket.
That'll be a horse cut.
And he got pulled down to the turf there at the 42. Jacob Roberts with the aggressive tackle and a loss of 2.
Huh? All right, that's all right. They got him low on the jersey.
Looks like that's going to do it for our first half. Dominated by NC State on the road. Brennan Armstrong and the Pack with a 21-0 lead. He threw a touchdown pass. He ran it in short yardage. Mims also with a short TD run. It adds up to 21-0. And remember, they did not allow a touchdown, James, against Miami last Saturday as well in the win at home, 20-6.
I think the only thing that went wrong for Brennan was his earring there in the first half. Trevor, getting it down to you, bud.
Appreciate it. Got head coach Dave Doran here with you after the first half where you rushed for nearly 220 yards. How do you keep that success going on the ground?
Be more physical than them, finish our blocks, protect the football. Not happy about that turnover right there. It's a good first half, but I want to see 30 more minutes of just physicality. That's what I want to see.
Despite that turnover, your defense held out the shutout.
Yep. Great job by the defense, man. A lot of heart right there.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Fellas.
Trevor, thank you. Coach Doran knows this game is a long way from over with the 21-0 halftime lead for NC State on the road at Wake Forest. Halftime straight ahead on the CW.
This is the Subaru halftime report. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. A very fast and physical first half of football for NC State. 21-0, the current score after they impose their will, frankly, on the Wake Forest team and Deacons here at Allegacy Field. Trevor Scales here with you down on the turf. And as you heard Dave Doran speak to, that physicality is the exact same brand of football that they have instilled from day one from every single player within that building. It's also evident that he, Dave Doran, and that entire program carry a chip on their shoulder. Even with all of that grit and grind, though, there's a very clear love for one another within that building. That love is culminated in Dave Doran becoming the winningest coach in NC State history, which is a joy that they can all truly share.
Dave Doran He becomes the winningest head coach in NC State football history, passing Earl Edwards.
If you're going to make it to the end and be where you want to be, your guys can't beat themselves. I call it make your layups, like the simple plays that you should make. You got to make those. To minimize turnovers, minimize penalties. If you can do that over a long period of time, you end up with a pretty successful record. Come on, come on, come on. We forgot something in here, didn't we?
We got the winningest coach in NC State history.
NC State's really grown me into the person that I've become today, just through trial and tribulation. You know, just getting in trouble when I was a young college student to becoming a mature leader on the team, and credit to Coach Dorn and the way that he runs his program. Football is our main priority, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more than football, and he just makes sure that we understand how to be a good person, be a good stand-up man.
Treat people with the golden rule.
In conversations we had with Dave Doran, it's very clear that there's an investment in each and every one of those members of that program, and he passes Earl Edwards for the 78th win in program history, in his career in that program, the winningest coach in all of NC State. And it is just so evident every single time you speak with him that there's an emotional attachment to everyone that comes through that Wolfpack program. As we continue on with your Subaru halftime report, we'll whip around the ACC with highlights around the league. That and more as we continue here from Allegacy. Welcome back to the Subaru halftime report, where the Wolfpack lead the Deacons 21-0 here at Allegacy Stadium. The regular season for the ACC is winding down, but all kinds of destinies are trying to be controlled. One of which being, as Tom and Batesy mentioned earlier, number 11 Louisville. They got our slate started on Thursday, and Clemson would win 42-21. Here's a look at the scoreboard as it stands right now. Seminoles won 45-3 last year against Miami. Things just getting started in the fourth quarter, scoreless there. And then Duke at North Carolina gets started at 8 p.m. tonight. Tar Heels 38-35 just last season. An update on Paris Jones, the running back from Virginia, who was injured on that play where he did fumble. He went to a Louisville local hospital, had successful spine surgery. He is being monitored and will be moved accordingly as his status improves. But that is to say, all good right now, holding steady in stable condition. We will be back with more of your Subaru halftime report after this.
Welcome back to the Subaru halftime report here in Winston-Salem, NC State, with a 21-0 lead over Wake Forest. From our broadcast position, Tom and James in that first half, owned by NC State. James, especially on the ground, 217 yards rushing as a team for the Pack in the first half.
Yeah, especially the physical side of things too. Dave Doran, he's up big in the first half. He was upset. He was salty Dave going. But he actually told us on our call this week. He said, if I'm doing my job right, 2 days after you play us, you're going to still feel it. So he wants physicality. 217, that's more than Wake has given up all year. NC State, on the other hand, they haven't allowed a touchdown in 6 quarters now, and I know that because after we got home from our Georgia Tech game, I flew into Orlando and listened to Gary Hahn on the Wolfpack radio call the game. It was a great call. It was a fun game to listen to, especially from the Wolfpack side of things.
Yeah, the Wolfpack is bowl eligible, and Gary will be calling that bowl game when they accept an invitation. He is retiring after the end of this season after 34 years as the voice of the Wolfpack, and here is Gary Hahn's calls on those highlights from the first half.
Second down, 11 State at the Wake 21 now. Inside fake. Here's the lefty. Armstrong throws toward the goal line. Caught. Touchdown, NC State. State again sneak in there with that 3-man front. It's a 3-3-6 look. Snap to Griffiths. Here comes the blitz. Cannot pull the trigger, and he is pounded down on the second sack of the day by the State defense. 3rd down, 2 State. Snap to Armstrong. There he comes. Quarterback draw. 35 left side. Good move. 25-20. Good speed. Past the 5. Dives ahead down to the 1-yard line.
Yeah, and then NC State would take it in. Very next play, Mims, short yardage. Gary Hahn, his final season after 34 years, and his calls of those NC State scoring plays and scoring drives in that first half. And when you take a look at the numbers, James, it is all Wolfpack as we take a look at the stats.
Yeah, it took a long time before they got that first down. How about that -3 rushing yards? The rushing yards, the sacks. It's an offensive line that's had their hands full just every single snap. You've got the defensive front, and then you got those linebackers coming from all over. And 0 for 8 on 3rd downs, already pretty good coming in. Gibson's defense on 3rd down, they've been perfect so far in this first half.
State will have the ball when we start the second half. This has been the Subaru halftime report. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru. Back in Winston-Salem, moments away from the start of our second half, with NC State in command, 21-0. And they will get the ball to start the second half. Wolfpack 6-3 on the season. Wake Forest 4-5. Going to need a comeback here. Wake Forest has to go to Notre Dame next week. NC State already bowl eligible for the 9th time under Dave Doran. Played in the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte last season for NC State. Ready to go with the second half of ACC football on the CW. So glad that you're with us. And there will be no return. All right, just moments ago, Trevor Scales catching up with the head coach of Wake Forest, Dave Clawson.
Here with head coach Dave Clawson. Coach, how do you get something going offensively?
I mean, you know, they're bringing a lot of blitz, and we're giving our playmakers a chance to make plays, and we haven't come up with a contested catch yet. So when our offense is good and people blitz, we got to win the one-on-ones. I thought Michael Kern threw some very catchable balls, but right now they're outplaying us in every phase of the game. Their defensive backs are outplaying our receivers. They're winning both sides of the line of scrimmage. It's not even competitive right now, and that was just a really, really bad half of football. So, you know, right now we're getting embarrassed, and obviously that's on me.
I appreciate it, Coach. Best of luck in the second half.
Well, Trevor, right like that, you can see the fire that was lit under that defensive line on that first snap anyway. Talking about getting dominated both sides of the offensive and defensive line, and defensively stop behind the line of scrimmage on the first snap. So a good way to start the second half after. You can imagine what the locker room was like in that Wake Forest side there during halftime.
Timeout, North Carolina State. First charge timeout of the half, 30-second timeout.
So the Wolfpack using their first timeout very early in the second half and looking for their first win here, James, in Winston-Salem since 2015 when they won on the road 35-17.
Oh, it's been more than an adventure. I mean, just like last week. Remember last week we highlighted Georgia Tech's struggles up in Charlottesville. They had just hadn't had any luck up there, and that goes way back to the days when Brent Key was a player. And it's a little bit more of the same. The hex has been on for the Wolfpack, but looking pretty good in the first half on both sides of the ball. How about this?
After the timeout, a little wrinkle. Lassane came up with it for 4 yards. Armstrong threw it.
Yeah, and it was a direct snap to KC. He hands it off to Armstrong.
Concepcion had a rush of 65 yards to set up the first TD of the game for Robert and I in the NC State offense. A 20-yard pass play. Armstrong to Gray for his first career receiving TD for Gray. And now 3rd and long. Armstrong pass to the 35-yard line. That's Lassane. He got spun down. That's going to be really, really close. And the chains are moving. It is a 1st down on the play to Lassane at 8 yards.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought Deshaun Jones did a good job of coming up and securing the tackle. Not quite soon enough to hold him behind those sticks. So opening drive of the second half, and Armstrong in the pack picking right up where they left off. And the 1st down on this first drive.
Armstrong was 6 of 8 through the air, 48 yards, did most of his damage on the ground with 8 carries and 90 yards. Pulls it back, wants to throw. Looking and looking. And now heading to the sideline, he gets shoved out of bounds. Penalty marker on that Wake Forest sideline. It's Kevin Pointer.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
It was back to that Duke game, a couple of these so costly. And here's a guy, Kevin Pointer. He's been playing so hard. You turn on that Duke tape against the Blue Devils. He had the quarterback pressure where he forced a fumble, forced the interception rather there in the game, and upset with himself, but he's a junior. He's got to be smarter than that. They had some freshmen, some younger year guys make a couple mistakes on the penalty front against Duke that were costly, and this is an upperclassman. You can't have that. Just going to take all they can to get back into this football game.
From the 48 of Wake, pass too high for the intended receiver Lassane from Armstrong. Wake Forest needs a comeback to snap a 2-game losing streak, and they've also lost, James, 5 of their last 6 games. Last win was at home, that game where they scored late against Pitt to win 21-17 October 21st here in Winston-Salem.
That wasn't an easy one, and that we've seen 2 quarterbacks in this game, and that was the 3rd quarterback who's played this year, Marucci.
Armstrong.
Man, that's your quarterback right there. Just running through 1, 2, 3 would-be tacklers. Just that strong lower body. A whole lot of grit. Getting it up there. Could have been a stop for maybe a no-gainer.
We're taking a look at our ref cam, which is presented by DirecTV. Stop compromising, start watching. Upgrade to DirecTV. What a great view that is. Take you right down to the field, right into the action. That's what James Bates used to see every Saturday when playing for a national championship back in '96 for the HBC head ball coach.
This was going to be close, yeah. And it was unobstructed because we didn't have face masks back then.
Oh, wait a second.
So it was just
now.
like that ref cam.
Not that long ago. Could bring up 4th down here, James, on this play.
It's good to see on these short yardage situations, quarterbacks going under center and being able to go under center and take that snap, and he is just short.
1 for 1 on 4th down in the game for NC State.
It's going to be big here if Wake can get a stand, get that ball in their offense's hands.
Oh, 2 players collided. That was Mims. He ran into a teammate and pinballed off him and got the 1st down, 3 yards. It's Penix that he bounced off of.
Yeah, even from the get-go, the snap was a little bit wonky, and the timing was a little bit off, but a good job by Mims. You're just treating it like it's that goal line. They just find a way to get there. We've seen him so many times in those short yardage situations, keeping this drive alive.
So the 1st down. So that's 2 for 2 on 4th down in the game. NC State's only gone forward on 4th down 11 times this season now.
Timeout, North Carolina State. That's their second charge timeout of the half. Media timeout.
That's the 2nd timeout by NC State early in this 3rd quarter and leading 21-0. ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Verizon. My Plan, the plan for fans. On the tackle, Ray Agnew, part of the ACC football honors class from NC State. All ACC in the late 80s, twice in the team MVP in 1989. First round pick of the New England Patriots, and he won a Super Bowl back in 2000 with the Rams. Ninth play of the drive coming up for NC State and Brennan Armstrong. Mims tracked down and dropped. Loss on the play. Kevin Pointer got to him and a loss of 2.
Yeah, knifing through there, making up for that flag earlier on this drive. And it was an impressive get off by that offensive line, just washing down Wake Forest, but nobody there for 91 as he came penetrating through and dropping Mims for a loss. Second 12.
5 receiver set for NC State and Armstrong. Looking left, take it off. Cut it to 35 and then tackled. Dylan Hazen dropped him after a 3-yard gain for Brennan Armstrong on the rush.
Good job there by Hazen. Armstrong's, he's not easy in open field, especially when he's got that change-up where he can run through you. Good wrap-up, good strong tackle to hold him right there. Hazen's had a couple nice plays in this game. Just at 100 yards right now. There's 12 carries for Brennan Armstrong. It was something that they didn't really do much with Morris. Morris can run, but they chose not to put him in these situations where they these design run plays. Not that one was for Brennan Armstrong. Here's a 3rd and long.
Slips that pass out on 3rd down to Concepcion, and he gets pushed out of bounds. They're going to call it a run. Davis pushed him out.
Nice hustle play there by Jaheim Davis. That's a defensive end. Getting out of there like a linebacker flying through there, or a safety maybe. Well, here we got a guy that can boot it, that's for sure. Marvison hit a 57-yarder against Duke.
School record 57-yarder and career long. That's approximately 11 of 13 on the season from 54 yards away. It's no good. Missed it off to the left for Narveson. So the lead stays at 21-0 here in the 3rd for NC State. ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Sonic. This is how we Sonic. The fall in Winston-Salem bursting with color. NC State bursting with offense. Wake has the football after the missed field goal from Narveson. 54 yards away, so the ball is spotted at the 36-yard line of Wake Forest. 1st and 10. Michael Kern is in there. Rich Griffiths played the first 3 series of the game, then had to come out. That pass is complete. Height. 1st down yardage on the play. There is life in the Neiman Deacons. Battle on the tackle.
There you go, changing it up a little bit. Goes under center on the boot, just rolling them out, giving them some time, which, so many times, even back to that Georgia Tech game, we talked about the sacks and the turnovers. There was so much pressure. Put those quarterbacks on the edge and let them feel a little bit more comfortable.
Trying to do it on the ground, right along that 50-yard line. Previous play was 13 yards, this for 2. Claiborne, the sophomore, on the rush.
Claiborne has big playability, but this defense, they've held him in check so far in this game.
Claiborne ran for 81 yards in the loss against Duke. This play, Williams.
It's out.
Yeah, lost it. NC State says it has the football. Remember we talked about the Wake turnovers. They're still talking about it.
Ruling on the field is a catch. Fumble recovery by North Carolina State. 1st and 10.
1st down, NC State on the cover.
Great job there That's Sean Brown. Or I beg your pardon, Robert Kennedy coming in, punching it out. He's the first one there. Catch is made, football moves, so that's a fumble, and that's an NC State recovery. Keyshawn Williams and Dave Clausen just talked to Trevor at halftime coming out. He said, hey, we've got to catch these balls, these contested balls. Well, now you catch one, you can't turn it right over. Finally had a little bit of life on that defense. And Shaheem Battle going to go sign the bone. Turnover bone that Tony Gibson has. He says he wants some dogs, and the dogs get to sign the bone. Whoever signs it the most during the season after a turnover gets to take it home, Trevor. Taking those bones home. What's going on down there?
Oh, man, I was going to go back to Dave Clausen and the point that you were making regarding the turnovers. He talked about the 5 points of pressure, too, the last of which being the mental capacity to make sure that you hold on to that rock, especially in traffic. Again, they've been drilling it all season long. It just seems to not necessarily panning out the way that they want it to.
NC State back in possession of the football after the fumble recovery. Raphael on the run for Wake. That's now 19 turnovers on the season. That's near the bottom of the conference in the ACC. Coach Clausen identified that issue in our meetings yesterday almost immediately.
Well, on the other side of that turnover coin, it's 19 turnovers gained by this Wake Forest defense. That was second in the ACC at 18 coming in. Let's see what that complimentary football that Doran preaches, if they can get some points off that turnover.
Open man, 42-yard line. Concepcion, first down, NC State. Mustafa on the tackle and 12 yards on the pass play.
Everybody in black and gold holding their breaths in here when number 10 gets his hands on the ball, makes the first guy miss. And unfortunately for Deacon fans, at least they forced him back inside. It was Deshaun Jones on the coverage initially. He lets him outside there, and it's off to the races. But inside, where you've got your buddies coming over to help out, and Mustafa able to drop him, but the damage is done with first down yardage.
49 catches now on the season for Concepcion, third in the ACC. Not a lot for Raphael, maybe a yard. Concepcion, by the way, James, also second in the ACC in touchdown receptions with 6 for the freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't forget that doubleheader coming up next week. We'll get it started at 3 Eastern.
I'm ready.
We'll be in Tallahassee. Our crew will be in Tallahassee. Whistle stops the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 10, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
We'll get to see Jordan Travis, a Heisman Trophy candidate, late in the season.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him as well. Incredible young man as well as a football player, and there's the best of the best in college football right now anyway, and some guys have some big matchups today. Penix Jr., they go against Utah. Jaden Daniels and the Tigers. Daniels was injured. He is going to play tonight against the Florida Gators in the other Death Valley.
Armstrong moving left and throwing and caught inside the 15. Collins. I mean, that was a rope off the left arm of Brennan Armstrong, and Collins was ready for it. 28 yards.
Incredible catch. Good job. That's Clausen earlier talking about making those tough catches. That one right there, you got to go up and get it, but he brings it down to Kari Collins, who did play at that ACC version of Death Valley at Clemson before transferring over down there inside the 15-yard line.
3 for 3 in the red zone in the game for NC State. Armstrong floats it to the end zone. Deflected away in a clean play. Collins was in the end zone. Kalen Carson, number 1 in old gold and black, to make the play for Wake Forest.
They go right back at 86, try to get him back to back, but a nice defensive play. Going up and high-pointing that ball. Down by Carson. Went through the coverage of Keon Coleman against FSU. He's been on 10 a lot today. KC Concepcion for NC State.
Armstrong got belted near the 20 and dragged to the turf. That's the second sack of the game for Wake. Jalen Garnes, number 9. Loss of 6 on the play for NC State.
Nice job here by Garnes, coming from way off, has to time that up. Defensive coordinator Brad Lambert dialing it up at the right time for a big drop and nowhere for Armstrong to sneak out. 3rd down and 16.
From the 20 on 3rd down. Armstrong, his arm might have been hit on the follow through. Kevin Pointer was in there. So now 4th down for NC State. Could be another chance for Narveson, James.
Pointer had the quarterback pressure, forced the interception against Duke. It looked like he was going to have a chance of doing it again right there. NC State, lucky that one hit the turf. Look at Shimko. Look at our guy Shimko. That's a great look from the ref can of Shimko. Best long snapper in college ball, perhaps, right there. Shimko has never snapped a bad one. Huh? Oh, man, there he is. Let's keep it on. Keep it on Shimko there, Mr. Ref.
I mean, you can't get any closer to the action than that.
Further review.
I guess they're looking to see if it was an incomplete pass or a fumble. Here's Narveson. Narveson with that 44. He's got that bleached blonde hair, looking kind of like the Boz. Number 11 for NC State. Plays a little bit like the Boz. We'll be back.
So they're taking a look at it. We're going to hang here for this review because it could have an effect on the spot of the football. Fumble or incomplete pass. Narveson just a moment ago missed from 54 yards away. So you see the line of scrimmage was at the 20.
Watch that left hand. If it's coming forward
After
at
further
all.
review, the ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass. 4th down.
If it's coming forward at all, it's a pass. And that's what they're calling it right there. So here comes Shimko and Narveson one more time.
So they will return the football to the 20-yard line. This is going to be in the neighborhood of a 38-yarder coming up for Narveson. Told you about his long-range field goal against Duke. Only points of the game, by the way, James, a 57-yarder. Duke scored the rest of the points in that one and won that game 24-3. That was in Durham. But then they followed it up with the victory against Clemson and then Miami last week to get bowl eligible. Both of those home wins. Narveson. He's missed again. 2 chances in the 3rd quarter, and he comes up empty both times with 3:12 to go, James.
Can NC State keep pitching the shutout on defense, though? Unable to get another field goal, but Wake Forest unable to score.
Well, the fans of all ages enjoying the afternoon, if not the score right now, if you're a Wake Forest fan, trailing 21-0 to NC State, which won the battle between these two teams a season ago in Raleigh. Jordan Travis, we'll see him on the CW next week against North Alabama. Travis, 3rd in the ACC in touchdowns. He's only thrown 2 interceptions. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate, and we'll get an up-close look at him next week in the tradition of Heisman Trophy winners at Florida State. We saw a Heisman Trophy winner last week at Virginia on the sidelines for Georgia Tech. Chris Wenke is the quarterback's coach for Georgia Tech. Brent Key.
I played against one in Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward.
Florida State up.
Jameis Winston, 2013 national championship year.
There's the score. They're early in the second quarter. Knowles up on Miami 10-0.
North Alabama, the opponent next week from the football championship subdivision. Wake trying to get something going with Williams. Fighting hard. Up to the 27-yard line, he got 4. Closing in on 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Wake trying to get something going. Although they have struggled in this situation, 0 for 8 on third down in the game for the Deacons. '11th in the conference for the season. Complete body of work on third down.
They're locking up. Here they come.
3rd and 3. Trying to beat that pressure. Incomplete. At the 35-yard line, Jamal Banks against Aiden White, and it's incomplete.
Aiden White, at least 3 pass breakups here today. A couple just like that. Good job, not too aggressive, not drawing the flag. And that right there is an example. They brought everybody. Just man on the outside. Hey, you know when you got White in battle, shoot, you can trust him. You can trust him in man coverage and bring the house and put the pressure on Kern. Good job defensively once again.
6th time today, 3 and out for Wake Forest. Mora on the punt. Coit, momentary juggle. Appeared to slip down on the turf at about the 33. 43 yards on the punt, the return of 6 from Jalen Coit. Sheen Davis on the tackle.
There's the Spencer sisters.
It's been a fantastic season of ACC football on the CW. We've had some incredible matchups. Legendary, if you will, at times.
Oh, well, you know, and even with this one, if this one stays the way it's going with NC State on top, it's the upset is in the form of they haven't been able to win here. They've had terrible luck playing on the road in Winston-Salem against Wake Forest. You know, last week wasn't quite the upset that we had the previous weeks. We, of course, had that Virginia upset over North Carolina. The Louisville losing to Pitt for their first loss after coming off of that big Notre Dame win.
And only loss so far this season for Louisville after its win against Virginia on Thursday. In fact, should North Carolina lose in the game for the victory bell against Duke tonight, that would ensure Louisville a spot in the ACC Championship game December 2nd. Bank of America Stadium. Charlotte, North Carolina against Florida State, which has already qualified for the game. Armstrong sliding down. You mentioned the struggles, James, for NC State. Haven't won here since 2015. They did win at home last year. In fact, the last 2 years, both teams have been ranked. I mean, go back to 2021, the last time they played here. NC State was number 16, Wake was number 12, and the Deacons won it 45-42, despite 4 TD passes from Devin Leary.
In that game, the Pack had 3 turnovers and 14 penalties in that loss. That's a recipe for losing on the road, that's for sure.
No such problems today. That's out of bounds shy of the 40-yard line. Concepcion, 4 yards. Might be the final play of the third quarter.
Nice job there by Mustafa, just keeping 10 in front of him, run him out of bounds, and it should be a punt to start the fourth quarter after this.
326 total yards to just 68 for Wake Forest through 3 quarters. As we celebrate Veterans Day here in Winston-Salem, a lot of work to do for the Deacons in the fourth. Let's take a look at today's third quarter stats, brought to you by Golden Corral, the only one for everyone.
Yeah, left side's looking pretty good. That right side, man, the 0 at the top is explained by everything underneath just about. I mean, 0 third down conversions. Unable to stay on the football field and barely over 0 yards a rush. Got to find something out now. Fortunately for Wake Forest, a whole quarter to go, and the defense just stood.
Morin knocked down at the 20. 49 yards on the punt, 7 yards on the return for Taylor Morin.
Newcaster's done a good job here this year. That third phase, Darvison's been pretty good. He's missed a couple here in this one, but he's been good for him. But Newcaster, big boomer there, but he's done an excellent job of pinning these teams near their own goal line.
Narveson had only missed 2 field goals all season prior to today. He'd made 9 in a row, but Narveson has missed twice in the third quarter from 54 and 38 yards away. And now it's Michael Kern and the Wake Forest offense struggling against this NC State defense. Wake Forest averages about 350 yards a game this afternoon. Trying to get Morin coming back to it. Sails out of bounds. Shaheen Battle was back in coverage. He's got a fumble recovery. Both teams have a turnover. No points so far, James, off of those turnovers by Wake and NC State.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that was just a throwaway ball there, because looking down the field, Kern sees excellent coverage once again by Battle, whether it's Battle or Aiden White over on the other side of the field. Good cornerback play here for these first 3 quarters for the Wolfpack. NC State seems to know what's coming. And
timeout, Wake Forest. That's their first charge timeout of the half. Media timeout.
That's us.
Early timeout of the 4th. NC State in front.
Second and 12 from the 21. Faking is Armstrong. He'll fire it toward the left corner of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Touchdown, NC State. Play clock is down to 10. They've got plenty of time. 2 wideouts to both sides. Here comes a blitz. And Griffiths is hit, and he's knocked down. He's lucky to get up after that hit, but he does. Devon Betty was like a freight train, came right over the top of Mitch Griffiths and just leveled him. Gun in motion comes Coit. He'll go in orbit motion. Here's Armstrong on a run over the left side. 35-30, 20-10. Still moving, and down at the 1-yard line goes Armstrong, and a touchdown saving tackle.
The calls from Gary Hahn. We had just a bit of a technical issue earlier, but those were those calls from Gary Hahn in the first half, retiring after 34 years as the voice of the Wolfpack, and his calls from the action in the first half. So there is a player down for Wake Forest. We will step aside for just a moment early on here in the 4th with NC State in front of Wake Forest 21-0.
ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Verizon. My plan, the plan for fans.
The NC State turnover bone. Got to sign it one time so far. Battle had the fumble recovery for NC State in command. 21-0. Ellison in as the running back. This is 3rd down and long for Wake. Tossed over the middle, complete. Out towards the 40 and a first down. Wilson made the tackle. Ellison made the catch, 18 yards.
Poetic justice. Justice Ellison. Nice job sneaking out of the backfield. Coming underneath. Move those chains. Big when they needed that one. Not this, though.
Interception, NC State. Sean Brown.
Get that bone back out. Here comes Sean Brown to add his name to it once again. Had a pick at Virginia. That exciting win on the road in Charlottesville earlier this year. Finally convert on a 3rd down, and here's one more look at it, just right there playing center field. Good break on the ball, reading the eyes of Kern. Going up and getting it like they've done so many times. Turnovers 19 and 20 forced by this defense here today. Pitching a shutout, 13:42 left to go in this game. Offense trying to get their first points of the second half.
33-yard return for Brown on the pick. Here's a little wrinkle again. Concepcion. That ball was on the turf momentarily. Covered up by Concepcion. Mustafa made the hit. Loss of 3.
Mustafa's had a pretty good game. He's going downhill hard from that safety spot.
The interception, James, for NC State, the 14th of the season. That leads the ACC, 5th in the football bowl subdivision for interceptions.
You know, and again, Sean Brown was more of a special teams guy early on when you had Ashford and Harris still out there. He stepped in and he's really done a good job.
How about 8 different players have interceptions this season for NC State?
Peyton Wilson's got a couple.
Oh, how about the interception return for a touchdown against Clemson from 15 yards out?
he took off from about 10 yards out, flying across that goal line.
That's one of the great plays that we've witnessed all season long.
Now he's entertaining the troops over there. He can do it all, right? He's doing a stand-up special. He's got them all smiling, keeping them loose. That's one thing when you ask the coaches earlier in the season, hey, what has Peyton Wilson gotten better at here this year? That's what they'll tell you immediately. He's a great leader, a great vocal leader with this team now.
Started his 34th career game. Here's 3rd down for NC State. The Sane got 7, not quite enough. They needed to get inside the 25 for a first down. Hall made the tackle. So Narvison's going to get another chance at it here. 0 for 2 so far in the game. A 45-yard attempt. Braden Narvison.
3 over 50 yards at Western Kentucky before transferring over. See if we can get back on track. Yep.
If the goalposts were a foot wide, that would have been good.
Yeah.
So Narvison connects on his first of the game and makes it 24-0 NC State.
Look at that Shimko snap. Get me Shimko in here. Perfect again, and 3 more points for the Pack. 24-0.
ACC football on the CW is brought to you by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years.
NC State trying to go to 7-3 on the season. Right now they're 2-1 away from Raleigh. 1-1 in conference play on the road. And they've got a 24-0 lead. Braden Narvison just connected on a 45-yarder. We need a hero if you're Wake Forest. Who's it going to be? There'll be no return.
There have been a lot of costumes in the stands here today. It's a couple weeks past Halloween now, but they're still making good use out of it. That's just smart.
The Legacy Federal Credit Union Stadium opened up its Grove Stadium back in 1968. Wake Forest, difficulty getting near the end zone. They have gotten to the NC State 36-yard line and no closer as far as field position is concerned. Michael Kern came in the first quarter for Mitch Griffiths. Tate Carney on the carry. Just 3.
Tate Carney on the carry. Kern playing a little bit banged up here today with his shoulder, but I'd say probably the majority of football players out there in college ball right now got some sort of a ding that they're dealing with this late in the season. He's throwing some pretty good balls, Tom. Continues to work right here. Just got to take care of it.
First down to Fields for 12 yards. Wake Forest is averaging 22.1 points per game. James, that is 13th in the ACC this season. Started out 3-0. And we had their game here against Georgia Tech, won by the Yellow Jackets. Had a win October 21st against Pitt at home. But outside of that, 5 losses in the last 6 games for Dave Clawson. Not used to that sort of thing.
No.
I mean, they've been to 7 straight bowl games, James.
You know, they had a lot of seniors celebrating Senior Day today, but only 4 starters that are seniors.
Pass complete, trying to fight for midfield. Wesley Grimes, 9 yards.
Nice job by Grimes to come back and get that ball. Attack the ball, then turn and get what you can. Gets up close to that first down marker. 3rd and short. Got a defense. Means a lot to these defenses trying to hold on to those goose eggs. Trying to keep them from a first down here. Didn't get it that time, Tom.
Carney came up short, maybe 1.
Jurgens in there, Matt Golden. C.J. Clark turning around and saying hi to you there on the ref cam. 4th and 1. What we got?
And tosses it complete, first down. Stumbling down near the 40-yard line. Tate Carney pulls it in and converts on 4th down and gets 13 yards.
Nice job by Kern. He's got 2 Wolfpack players right there in his face. Just enough to get it off to Carney out in the flat. Move those chains. Down to 8:40 left in the game.
Second time the Wake have gone for it on 4th down in the game. This is inside the 30-yard line. A committee tackle from NC State. And that's close to first down yardage as well. 10 yards on the play. Once again, Fields coming up with the catch. Fordham on the stop.
And a sense of urgency now as they go down and try to get those first points. Obviously, first things first, got to score. Got to think that got to get creative starting right away with so much ground to make up.
Kern, miscommunication. Despite that incompletion, Trev, Wake Forest starting to move the football, maybe a little bit of traction, and we got time on that clock.
That's exactly right, and obviously the situation dictates their pace, but also they like to do the tempo thing. They are comfortable in that set so long as they are stringing plays together just in a meticulous manner, and that's exactly what they seem to be doing, finding a little bit of comfort in that up-tempo pace.
Trevor, this is the 9th play of the drive right now for Wake. Just a moment ago, I told you they got to the 36 of NC State. Now they're inside the 30. This is their best work all afternoon long and into the evening hours. Down to the 20-yard line. Horatio Fields been a popular target on this drive.
And the key to them finding success is getting that ball out quick. We know that the pressure is going to be relentless from NC State. So long as you are able to time up your routes, everybody's on the same page, that's the one way you're going to find success in this.
See if they can find success on 3rd and short. Trying to keep this drive rolling inside the red zone here on 3rd down. Kern looking left, escapes the pocket, throws it down near the end zone. Looking for Fields. Aiden White was in coverage. And now 4th down.
Once again, Tony Gibson brings the house. Everybody. The 2 guys out there in coverage. You've got White and you've got Battle. Once again, you can trust them. One more 4th down. About that 2013, it's been a while since they finished with a 0 on the offensive side.
Something didn't look right there. Kern throws it one-on-one down by the goal line and caught for the touchdown. Alexander in the end zone. That was on 4th down. 19 yards, second converted 4th down of the drive. Hold on to second base.
Well, they'll go for 2 here. They obviously ate 3 times. They won't have to factor in a field goal, but what a great job by Kern to stay calm after the quick snap. I don't think he was expecting it that early. Let's see if they can turn it into a 2-score game.
First TD pass of the season. Kern looking for the 2. Intercepted on the goal line. Being returned by Scott. Scott down the sideline. All the way for the return and 2. Wake was going for 2. NC State's number 2 gets 2 on the return. And he is winded.
Yeah, he is. I wasn't sure he was going to make it. Wow. Wow, one more turnover. That's 3. Jalen Scott, the big man, the senior from Shelby, North Carolina. After this touchdown, great job by Alexander. Go out and get that ball. And here you go. Jalen Scott's going to catch his breath, grab that Sharpie, and sign the turnover bone. It's 26-6.
Jalen Scott did a 100-yard dash as he intercepted the 2-point attempt by Wake Forest. Not an official interception, but he grabbed it at about the goal line, James, and went the distance to make it 26-6.
They better still let him sign that turnover bone. The turnover bone isn't official.
It isn't?
Well, it's beyond official. There we go, onside kick now. 7:15 left.
NC State has it. Rosner covered it in the onside attempt. Updated ACC standings. Florida State and Louisville in those college football playoffs. North Carolina rankings. North Carolina also in the top 25. And they're playing Duke tonight.
Georgia Tech lost to Clemson, so they're out of that picture. Had a bit of a long shot at the beginning of the day. A couple wins for Clemson after losing in Raleigh a couple weeks ago. And update on that Florida State score in Tallahassee. It's 10-7 with Miami scoring in that one.
NC State defeated Miami at home to become bowl eligible a week ago and get Coach Doran 78th victory as the head coach of the Wolfpack, the most in school history. Mims, a little conversation with Ref Cam.
Read his lips. That was pretty cool though, because you see the camera and you see a guy, you think automatically he's just talking to the camera, but he doesn't realize he's talking to. He's just talking to the ref. It's like James Jackson when he a couple weeks ago for Virginia when he had that interception at the end of the game. We had the great shot on Ref Cam, and he didn't realize what it was on the ref's hat until after the game when he saw the highlights. He said, oh, that's what that was.
And the funny thing about that, with Mims on the carry, nowhere to go, maybe a yard. The funny thing about the Jackson interception was we had the referee signaling catch because we weren't sure if Jackson had secured it to secure the upset win against number 10 North Carolina in Chapel Hill. So we had that fantastic replay. Virginia, for the first time in school history, beat a top 10 opponent on the road. As we take a look at our Ref Cam presented by DirecTV. Stop compromising, start watching, upgrade to DirecTV. It's a view unlike any other.
It really is. You see.
Through the line. Finally tracked down at the 25. Concepcion. 22 yards. Glasgow on the tackle.
Man, direct snap. And just when he makes up his mind, he's going to go north and south. And look, even with the leap, feet hit the ground, and automatically he's just churning, going. He's been fun to watch. KC Concepcion, you know, he's got all these great numbers for a freshman. He's on the semifinalist list for the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Year award. But, you know, freshmen aside, age aside, his numbers are up there with the best players in the ACC, some of the best players in the country as well.
Concepcion is up to 86 yards rushing. Mims got the call there. Delbert Mims the third in the second quarter, a 1-yard TD run. Mims leads the team in that category with now 7 rushing touchdowns. Vernon Armstrong, also a rushing TD in that second quarter of 1 yard. In fact, he almost scored right before Mims did. He got tripped up right near the 1-yard line on a long rush for Armstrong. 14 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. He'll let his back do the work here for Mims.
Fighting for him. You know, it'll be interesting. Armstrong will get a chance at it's such a big rivalry up there in Virginia Tech, in a game that they didn't get to play last year at the end of the season because of the tragedy that happened there in Charlottesville. And so next week, Brennan Armstrong and this Wolfpack, they'll head on up to Blacksburg to take on a Virginia Tech team that didn't have the best of starts, but they played some pretty good ball here as of late.
Beat Virginia Tech at home last year, 22-21 for NC State. MJ Morris, who has decided to redshirt this season, had 3 TD passes and led the comeback from 21-3 down against Virginia Tech, and they'll be in Blacksburg next week. Assuming this score holds, they'll be looking for win number 8 on the season for Coach Doran. It is 4th down.
I think he's going to maybe use a timeout here as it ticks down. 1 second left on the play clock.
Bowl eligible 9 times under Doran. That's the most of any head coach in school history, and timeout taken. Great conversation with Coach Doran this week. He talked about that Miami victory. He classified it, James, as an epic night. A lot of family and friends on hand. And he went past the legend Earl Edwards. We got more football coming up for you. The doubleheader next Saturday. We start with Duke and Virginia, and then we go to Tallahassee. North Alabama, the opponent for Florida State. Right now, number 4 in the college football playoff rankings.
How about Dave telling us, he said, yeah, I went out did some tailgating with my family and friends that came down to celebrate. It was a big night. He said on his press conference he was listening to music, but he didn't say what kind. He said there's only 2 kinds, country and western. What has he got here on 4th and 1? Robert and I and Dave Doran.
2 for 2 in the game on 4th down, and you can make that 3 for 3 forward progress. It's about the 13-yard line. They only needed 1.
You know, but that's kind of the way college football is. You know, I don't envy any of these coaches. You know, I mean, look at the high of becoming the all-time wins leader at NC State University as a head coach. Look at, you know, just beating Clemson and then beating Miami the next week in such a goal line stand, 97-yard drive, just such a fun night there at home. You got all your family and friends, and then, you know, early the next week, you're told that your starting quarterback has decided to redshirt, and you got to change it up, and then you got to answer all those questions and figure out what's going on right there. So it's never easy for these head coaches, that's for sure.
And playing in a place where you've only won twice since 2001. Prior to this afternoon, it appears that NC State is on its way to victory to improve moved to 7-3 and 4-2 in conference play. Robert and I reunited with Brennan Armstrong this season. You know, we thought it was an automatic, James, that combination would produce a lot of success. It did not happen, but as is the landscape of college football here in 2023, Armstrong back in as the starting quarterback, and he is leading them to victory this afternoon and now into the evening hours.
Well, and I wouldn't want to be on the opposing side of this offense here in these next couple of weeks. Virginia Tech, it's going to be interesting, and then of course North Carolina at season's end.
It's down to about the 3 for Raphael. 7 yards on the carry. Two TDs on the ground, one through the air for NC State, and a 45-yarder from Braden Narveson. Field goal here in this fourth quarter. Wake Forest, the touchdown pass from Kern to Alexander. And then the attempt at the two-point conversion was returned all the way back for 2 by Jalen Scott. A little bit of activity after the whistle. Need to play it cool here. NC State just trying to run out that clock. That's all. Well, we have a moment. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary presented by Pacific Life, creating financial security for more than 150 years. What a day for Brennan Armstrong. First, he throws this one to Julian Gray. First career TD reception, Gray, James.
Yeah, how about that? Armstrong looking pretty comfortable back in the saddle and pretty physical as well, doing it through the air, and they're on the ground. Little look back after that. And don't forget, Tony Gibson's defense forcing the 2 turnovers today and picking the ball off on a 2-point try as well. And nice win, and a very tough place to go home with one for NC State.
So NC State has won 2 in a row in the series with the victory today as we go down to Trevor.
Congrats, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Here with head coach Dave Doran. You challenged your team to come out with 30 more minutes of physicality. How do you feel like they rose to that occasion?
Oh, it's a great win. I wish we had played better in the third quarter on offense, but it's a great win. Proud of the defense, had a heck of a day. Really good first half by our offense. Played physical. Senior day here at Wake, it's an emotional game for them, so I knew we were going to have to play really good.
Knowing that you had to come in and rise to that challenge specifically, who do you feel like led the way as far as performing to the level that you needed to?
There's a lot of guys, you know. You got to give Brennan Armstrong a lot of credit. The way he played, how tough he ran. Definitely did some good things. Great touchdown. The throw down there. Dakari Collins made some nice catches for us today. Defensively, there's a lot of guys involved in that win right there. It's a good team win. It's a hard place to win games. So happy to come out of here with the W.
Yeah, just your third win since 2001, and to have the quarterback change and come through in the way that he did. And Brennan, could you speak to his leadership out there on the field today specifically?
Yeah, I'm just so happy for him. You know, he went through a tough part of that season, and he was down and collected himself, reset. The guys believed in him. There was times where our crowd didn't, and Peyton stood up for him, and then he just started to come back. We were playing 2 quarterbacks, and he was running the ball and being physical, and he's got the heart of a warrior. I'm proud of him. I'm really happy for him, man. It could be a beautiful ending for him.
Congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
Go Pack.
Fellas.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Coach Doran. Win number 79 in his career at NC State. The first win here at Wake Forest for the Wolfpack. This is 2015. We've got more to come from Winston-Salem. Once again, that final 26-6. We're coming right back. NC State wins it 26-6 on the road at Wake Forest. 7th win of the season for Dave Doran and the NC State Wolfpack. They did it, James, in impressive fashion. this afternoon and into the evening hours here in Winston-Salem. They did it on both sides of the football, and Brennan Armstrong was a big part of that. 96 yards on the ground, and he was not afraid to take on punishment running that football in this game for NC State.
Well, he never has been. I mean, you know, we've covered him way back at Virginia for so many years there with Robert and I, and that's why we were a little bit surprised earlier this season when it didn't quite work like we thought in media days in Charlotte. Like, wow, getting these two back together, that's going to be exciting. And it just never materialized early on. But on Brennan Armstrong's behalf, you know, when they sat him down, he's a captain of the team, and he remained a leader. Everybody talked about what a great leader, what a great team player, helping out MJ Morris. He continued to just do his job, everything he could for the team, and it paid off. And you heard Dave Doran said what a success story it would be. You know, even if he goes on and runs at the end of this year and never plays another snap of football, he'll have this. This is a life lesson. It's pretty special, I'd say.
Good timing right here. Down to Trevor Scales with Brennan Armstrong.
Here with quarterback Brennan Armstrong. Listen, man, an incredible attack, specifically on the ground, frankly, to get that going, to impose the will almost immediately. How did that feel?
Felt good. That was kind of our mindset coming into this game, really setting the tone on the run or in the ground game. And you know, we started off pretty hot with it, putting 21 points up pretty quickly. Yeah, we started it. We needed to finish a little bit better, I think. But overall, I thought we started fast, and like I said, we just got to work on finishing.
To slide into the leadership role at quarterback and to have that change and to be backed immediately by your teammates, how did that feel?
Yeah, it felt good. I think a lot happened when I was, benched these past 4 games. Found a lot about myself, try to step up, and be a really good teammate. And I think a lot of guys, bought into that. I think they saw that. And I really felt them rallying around me, and it felt really good. It felt really good, feel that feeling. And yeah, I'm just proud of the guys. It's not easy to come in here and win. I think the record shows the home team is normally the winning team when this battle comes. And, we got the win on the road, and it's huge.
What did you learn most about yourself during that time where you were working in the second string?
God has a plan, and I don't see it. No one sees their, for each individual life they have. But yeah, it's a unique one, and you don't know what's coming. I feel like my life's kind of been stepstone, and I kind of had it all planned out of how it's going to be. And this one was a stoppage point for me, not thinking that this was going to happen. So it helped me reflect and just become a better man, I think, at the end of the day.
Congratulations, man. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
To admire those responses from Brennan Armstrong, never giving up on anything around this NC State program. Got a chance today, and as he said, there is a bigger plan out there, and he was part of it today for the Wolfpack.
Well, and that's the kind of mentality that he's taken when he had to take a seat, and everybody respected that. You heard him allude to it, and it's the reason why I think they started so strong today. I mean, it's a team coming off 2 big wins, so maybe a little bit of a letdown at this point in the season. You're going to Wake, who isn't quite that good this year, but no, there's no such thing because they're rallying for Brennan Armstrong, who they respect so much, and they're excited for him. And they've got to be excited. Pack fans have to be excited for the rest of the way. They've got a big one at Virginia Tech and then one, of course, against North Carolina in a rivalry game.
That's 3 in a row now because we did the game at home against Clemson in the win for NC State. And then they defeated Miami at home also to become bowl eligible just a week ago. And how did they get it done today against Wake Forest? Let's take a look at some of the action of Brennan Armstrong going to the air for the TD pass.
Yeah, that, of course, opening drive after KC Concepcion had a big 68-yard run to get him down there. Julian Gray's first touchdown of his career and first touchdown as a starter again for Brennan Armstrong. But first through the air, first on the ground, banging there near the goal line. Little look over the shoulder and let them know what's going on. We saw a whole lot of smiles on the field from Armstrong today. And Delbert Mims, you get him down there near the goal line, it's like a shark. It's just smelling that water, but it's paint of the end zone, one of the top scorers in the league.
Yes, 7 touchdown runs so far for Mims this season. How about the catch by Alexander to get Wake on the board?
Yeah, nice job by Alexander. 2-point try was a fail. Here's a look at it. Jalen Scott's going to intercept it and take it 101 yards from inside the paint. Look at his buddies. Watch Peyton Wilson here, number 11. They're getting a piece of
That's Kern.
Would-be tackler. That's Kern. And then, better go.
Not running through the tape, but he went to the sidelines, got some oxygen, and congratulations from his teammates. Here are the final numbers, James, and they are hugely in favor of NC State.
Yeah, without a doubt. Third downs, 1 of 12. 29% Tony Gibson's defense was holding opponents to on third downs. I'm not great at math, but that's a lot better than 29% right there. So that'll help them out. One of the tops in the league. First downs, they ended up getting a few there late, and just 7 rushing yards. You can't convert third downs, and you don't have any rushing yards, and you don't have a whole lot of hope in these football games. I don't care who you're playing.
On senior day, it was a struggle for Wake Forest because NC State came to play this afternoon. KC Concepcion and the Wolfpack celebrating the victory 26-6. We've got more from Winston-Salem right after this. Back in Winston-Salem, taking a look at our Ref Cam presented by DirecTV. Stop compromising, start watching, upgrade to DirecTV as we take you right into the action, Bates.
That's fun. I'm not kidding when I say I could watch an entire game just from the Ref Cam.
Hey.
You know, context may be a little bit, you may not know exactly what's going on all the time, but it's so much fun to be right there in the thick of it. And you got those guys flying around Fordham, and there you see Peyton Wilson, Jalen Scott in there as well. Some really cool plays.
Unfortunately for Wake Forest, it was not a fun afternoon. And remember, Mitch Griffiths was the starting quarterback. He played 3 series, appeared to be banged up in the first series, and then did not come back in the game. It was Michael Kern the rest of the way for Wake Forest. Not an excuse, certainly, and the outcome may have been the same. But you're without Griffiths, that's a problem if you're Wake Forest.
Yeah, a little bit of a problem. Michael Kern had come in and played earlier this season. He was playing hurt. He was just cleared with the injured shoulder and really showed a little bit of promise. Some good balls down the field. This secondary, you just got to have open receivers. And some catches they could have, should have held on to early on to help out their quarterbacks a little bit. Some balls that went through their hands that they dropped. But Michael Kern, I think, is a pretty good quarterback and will have some success. But hats off to that defense, that secondary. They did it against Clemson. Remember, we called for it against Clemson. Hey, are they even scared that anyone's going to run by them? There's nobody. You know, think about that. Yeah, Clemson doesn't have the studs that they did in the past, but it's Clemson receivers. It's those recruits that Dabo's been getting for years, and they couldn't run by them. They weren't challenged by the deep ball, and they weren't again today. Everything that there was a chance downfield was a back shoulder throw. Defensively, they played well. Offensively, it's a good time to be an NC State Wolfpack fan right now.
So that's now 3 wins in a row. We mentioned the win last week at home against Miami. It was a milestone victory for Dave Dorn, becoming the all-time winningest coach in the history of NC State football.
Dave Dorn, he becomes the winningest head coach in NC State football history, passing Earl Edwards.
If you're going to make it to the end and be where you want to be, your guys can't beat themselves. We call it make your layups, like the simple plays that you should make. You got to make those to minimize turnovers, minimize penalties. If you can do that over a long period of time, you end up with a pretty successful record. Come on, come on, come on. We forgot something in here, didn't we?
We got the winningest coach in NC State history.
NC State's really grown me into the person that I've become today just through trial and tribulation, you know, just getting in trouble when I was a young college student to becoming a mature leader on the team, and credit to Coach Dorn and the way that he runs his program. Football is our main priority, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more than football, and he just makes sure that we understand how to be a good person, be a good stand-up man.
Treat people with the golden rule.
And congratulations, obviously, to Dave Dorn. We had a chance to talk with him this week. He's so gracious with his time with us, James, win, lose, or draw. But I will mention, NC State is now 4-0 this season on the CW. What did he tell us in our meeting this week? He said, don't mess it up on Saturday, and his team took care of business without question, both sides of the football.
Right, and if he likes playing on the CW, then he'll enjoy shows like F-Boy Island. He should check it out. You never know.
He's very successful head coach at NC State, all-time winningest coach in the history of that program. Hey, there's more football coming up next week, James. Not just one game.
Doubling it up.
2 games, Virginia and Duke, and we will be in Tallahassee as Florida State, which, by the way, number 4 in those college football playoff rankings, takes on North Alabama. So our destination next week is Tallahassee, but we have 2 games for you on the CW.
Yeah, Duke and Virginia, and you never know what's going to happen when Virginia gets out there. And I'm just glad that they're doing okay. It was quite a scare last night that everything's looking okay at Virginia, and Duke has been exciting to watch all year, but nobody more exciting in the ACC than those Florida State Seminoles led by Jordan Travis. They were up last I checked on that Miami game and the rivalry game. They've got another rivalry game. It's like the rivalry sandwich coming up for them. They'll play the Gators in Gainesville at season's end, but we've got them first against the North Alabama Lions.
Either way, they are already in the ACC championship game, December 2nd, Charlotte, North Carolina. We're just not sure who their opponent might be. It's probably going to be Louisville, which won Thursday against Virginia. If North Carolina doesn't beat Duke tonight, that will propel Louisville into that title game against Florida State, and maybe they have hopes beyond that. Maybe Louisville has hopes beyond that. That's a lot of football to play, James.
Yeah, and Jordan's healthy there for Louisville. We didn't get to see a healthy Jawar Jordan against Pitt in that upset. That was a fun game on the CW a few weeks back, but anything can happen on these Saturdays. Next week will be fun as well.
Exciting season for Florida State, and you'll see them continue it next Saturday on the CW. Jordan Travis, Heisman Trophy candidate. Can they stay undefeated? Can they get all the way to that title game and emerge from that and be part of the college football playoff? So many questions to answer. No questions for NC State. They win it 26-6 over Wake, and we thank you for watching ACC football on the CW. Tune in next week for our doubleheader, beginning with Duke and Virginia in the Commonwealth. Our coverage starts 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on the CW. For James Bates, Trevor Scales, and our fantastic crew, I'm Tom Wormy. Thanks so much for watching, and so long from Winston-Salem.